DustinMisery.com, Pobre Miseria Español. We're here to talk about the saints, not the New Orleans saints. We're talking about the saints that we see in churches and religions, the saints that have statues and images built for them, saints that are adored, prayed to, saints that have plethora of names from different backgrounds, people who are considered saints in this life, who have a saintly life. And then we want to look at what the Bible shows us about, well, what is, we have saint and we have this word sanctification that is a process, but not that we're a saint. How can we be saints with an old creature living with us each day till the moment we part from here?
Yes, Ernie. The first thing that we have to say is that there is no saints, but only one saint, and it's God, Yeshua. So, second thing that we have to say is that the idea that we have of the saints is completely absurd and monstrous. We believe, and this is for the apostate church, especially Catholicismo, because they are who speak about this.
They have the biggest, the Roman Catholic Church and its history has initiated saints and saints.
They love saints in heaven, they love saints in earth, and that's terrible. If people believe that a saint person is one who is living in a eremit or in a convent or in a monastery, it's completely a big mistake. So you say the word sanctification. Who gives us sanctification? The only who is saint, Yeshua. But this sanctification is through obedience and not through the monastery. This sanctification is through living in love, not in a convent. This sanctification doesn't mean that we have to dress like saints, like the Pope or like the monks. That's the version of the apostate church, the fake church. And most of the people in this world believe that the saints are them, and they are not them. The saints, if we can speak about saints, are those who are living in daily sanctification, living in war against the sin, living in love, I say, living in justice, which is not to give money, but to live judging the old creature, my own old creature, nothing else. I don't have the right to judge the sin in the other. I have the right and the duty to judge my own sin, my own greed, my own laziness, my own fornication, my own. So these things are very close to the real sanctification, and that's every day. The most important thing is to declare that that version of the saints is completely satanic, and you just have to go and to see how they live inside the monasteries, and you will be amazed. We know that if we go to a monastery and to be isolated of the society or to live in a small society, we're gonna become more perversion, more evil is gonna be inside of us, because Yeshua never said something like that. He never said go to a convent or go to a monastery. He said go all over the world and preach the gospel, and to live in love first of all, because if you preach the gospel but you don't live in love, doesn't work. We have to live in love, and I have to say, love is not the word love. Love is power. Yeshua's love is power. It's not only I love you, I love you, I love you. That is not love, or to send flowers. No. The power of love is the power to forgive, first of all. To forgive, pues, ofensas, ¿cómo se dice ofensas? Offenses. And to love, man, to love, forgive, and to serving. The real love includes service, to serve the others and not to look and get service.
Well, some would say people go to monasteries and then they go out and from there and serve serve the poor, help, which we see that these excluded.
They are full of pride because they believe that they believe that they are better than the others. I mean, we know this is not a mysterious. The apostate church works every day, and they give food, and they make hospitals.
Well, we've seen just, being factual on the level of just in one of the churches, the Catholic Church, we've seen enormous pedophilia. We have seen just stuff, and we can only begin to imagine how many people have been are quiet, how many cases that they've covered up, and we have just a plethora of sexual the stuff. We've seen even stuff on child pornography, people involved on clerical levels with people in the industry, places shut down. I mean, this stuff is real, and also celibacy. Again, something that we've talked about, that there's a lot of stuff that we go through in this life that's not easy. And then we have the same people coming out against, for example, homosexuality, and then we have this enormous amount of homosexuality in there. And this is something that you talk about lies, and we look at the judgment on people who have a lifestyle that's a homosexual lifestyle, and we see also the church going after these people as if they are the worst sinners of all.
Yeah, and one of the main problems of this doctrine is the people who are looking for intercession or as to the saints in heaven. Many people are asking help to some saints that this church say that they are in heaven and they have the capacity to make intercession for the believers, and that's absurd. There is people who ask help to Saint Charbel, Saint George, Saint Luke, Saint Paul, Saint Francis. Well, there is only one saint, and it's not only one saint, it's 3 times saint. Holy, holy, and holy. Isaiah 6, yes. So we make a call for these people who are believing in supuestos saints, supposed saints. They are making a big mistake for ignorance, and it's urgent to know that there is only one saint, and if they want to live in sanctification, they have to permit to the saint to do this job.
Yeah, we talk about sanctification, and we've reduced it into 7 sins. The 7 sins, and then, like I was saying before, about this war that we have about sin, and now we have a division in society on everything that we are sexually, and we go back to sin and lies and all these things, that at the end of the day, why are we judging the others about these things, that at the end of the day, the lie that brought us all into this mess is the biggest, the baddest, and there is not big and bad, but saying that a lie, as you had said, is worse than all these things that people say are that people are bad because they're gay, because they're this, because they're that, because they're drugs, because they, it goes on and on. We've all been accused of something. It's not just because of one thing or another.
Yes. This is very complex, and it's very important to know that there is no saints. Even the persons who are living in sanctification every day, which is the bride, they cannot saint somebody else. No, the only person who can give you sanctification.
We cannot sanctify others.
No.
To be sanctified through saints.
That's why stop to say to the big priest, put my hands on my head and all this bullshit, because no one can give you sanctification, just Yeshua. And that sanctification comes from when we start to make obedience. And it's very, 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 very simple, his commitment. It's only one commitment: to love one another as I love you. It's very easy to say that, but it's not so easy to put in practice. But if someone has the Holy Spirit do the job. It's for grace. We don't have any love.
The Holy Spirit corrects the believer.
Yeah, he gives us discipline.
Everybody goes through a transformation, and we don't have a textbook that says you go this way, that way, then you go the other way. It's a unique experience that Yeshua works through every believer.
Yeah, he guided us, and he was counsel. He was also discipline, which is very close to the sanctification. Discipline and sanctification are very, very close. I can say without discipline, it's impossible to receive sanctification. Impossible. And that's the hardest part, because people like
Just to feel justified.
but they don't like discipline.
Because that almost seems like forced.
Force, but it's the plan of Yeshua.
But today we've used that word discipline in a way, have discipline, and it's become, like everything else, a word that has it's a word that is good for some. I can see it in sports and other things, but when it comes to God, discipline means legalism.
Nothing, no.
Being good, doing everything the right way, and then it becomes like this religious thing, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a different discipline.
Because this is God's discipline.
We desire that.
Yeah. And we grow with this discipline, grow in power, grow in all the fruit of the Holy Spirit. So discipline is huge, it's big bless. Someone who is receiving discipline, it's in a big bless. Discipline direct from God, never hear something about it. I mean, God discipline direct his sons, it's too much love. Someone who doesn't have discipline is a bastard, said Paul in Hebrews. So look at the importance of the discipline. Someone who don't want to receive the discipline is considered as a bastard.
And discipline that also honors our free will. This is something that I've always seen come to me wrong in the younger years of churchianity, as we say, where it was to do, you must to do. So human beings to be closer to God, you must. And if you blow it, he may not give you another chance. And these things that really, really, really mess people up. And knowing that God always, and his word is all there. And Yeshua, as he walked on this earth, he showed it. He never forced anybody. He always weaned them with which way do you want to go. Make a choice. And let me show you at least truth. And in terms of anger, when we look at saints and being perfect, there was times when there was lying doctrines around where he just cleared it up and he called the shots. He said, there's one way, this is the way, it's through love, and I give you the love, and I cover your sin.
Yes, Ernie, the only one who forces human beings is Satan. Yeshua is a gentleman, is the only one, and he don't force us. He don't oblige us, he invites us. That's different. That's why we love Yeshua too, because if I don't want to be with him, I can go. But with Satan, it's not like that. Satan doesn't give you free. They will never open the jail of his prisoners, said in Isaiah. Never. So Yeshua is the only one, because this sanctification is for grace. Actually, we want more sanctification, because we know how wonderful it is to be sanctified by God every day and growing as children and growing in love and growing in the capacity to forgive. Offenses, big offenses.
Coming back at the end of the day, we're all...
Look at Yeshua dying at the cross, his words, Father, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. That's the whole gospel.
Dust and misery.